If you're not currently being cherished, you're a woman, you want a man who's taking care of you, leading you, making you feel amazing, adoring you, filling your life up with affection, trying to be emotionally centered for you, creating that safety for you, and you're just not getting that to the degree that you need. You're not finding those kind of men. You're with a man who's not showing up that way. You definitely want to stay tuned. You will definitely want to watch this entire video. So we're going to be talking about why. And the best part of what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be doing it live. I'm going to be taking questions and we're going to have a fantastic time together. Before we really go into it, we're going to be talking about, why you're not being cherished. There's so many reasons, right? Like we're going to see where this live stream goes. It really depends on, to a large extent, you and what specific issues are happening, because there could be one of 50 reasons why you're not being cherished right now. It could be starting with a dating profile issue. It could be your energy's closed off. It could be because you're fawning, you're low self-worth, you're stuck in a victim mentality. You got some avoidant attachment stuff, so you push away men. You got issues being attracted to the right kind of healthy men because of daddy issues or mommy issues. You might be a giver instead of a receiver. You might lead, you might judge. You don't know how to use feminine communication. Well, not using feminine communication, that's always going to be part of it. So yeah, we're going to be talking about a bunch of those issues, why that could be. Sarah, you feel excited? Oh, excellent. You got a question. We're just going to, I don't even care what it is. I don't even care if it's related. We're just going to answer it just because this is the first question. And we got Diana. You feel curious. Well, welcome Diana as well. All right, so Sarah says, you're excited. Question, what do you think of men who say, I'm not taking care of a woman financially because of this economy, and I'll never know if she truly loves me or my money? Well, those men suck. As a short answer, those men it's understandable as well. Like I'll kind of poke fun at the whole red pill crowd and, men have been indoctrinated into this kind of thing. But unfortunately, they're also victims. They're victims of some indoctrination, some brainwashing, some victim mindset programming, and some bad experiences, attracting the wrong kind of men, creating that self-fulfilling prophecy, and then women end up having a bad time with them because they're selfish. Women need a man who is a provider. Women need a man who is wanting to take care of them. It's not just about being able to, right? Being able to is fantastic, but what is even more important is that a man really wants to, right? Like, let's just say it's like he's making $40,000 a year. That sucks pretty bad, especially in this economy and with inflation and everything. Being able to take care of a woman, especially if he wants to have children, he's gonna have to do some work on that. But at least if he really wants to, like not from a people-pleasing place, but he's like, man, I want to provide. I love taking care of a woman. I love putting a smile on her face. I love going out on dates with her and fully taking care of everything so that she just gets to relax and enjoy herself. And he's actually got the self-worth. He's not a simp, right? He's not this people-pleaser guy. He's got a backbone where he's like, I'm also not going to tolerate any disrespect. I'm going to be in charge. I'm leading. I got strong boundaries. I'm fully in charge here, but yeah, I respect myself at the same time. A woman will kill for that. Women love that, and it's harder and harder to find those kind of men, especially as you get older as a woman, right? Because a lot of those men, they get taken up, and then a lot of the crappy ones are left over that are stuck in victim stuff and are addicted to the manosphere and listening to those red pill influencers. That's a really big problem. So okay, in answer to your question, I'm not taking care of a woman. He's got a victim mindset. He's probably been burned. He doesn't have much self-worth because obviously that's been his experience where women will take advantage of him for his money, which means that he probably believes that his money is what makes him valuable. So he's co-creating that reality, which means that you probably want to avoid that kind of man in general. Now, if he's got a lot of other great qualities and you're in a relationship with him already, I mean, can start doing the work to shift that. Absolutely. You're not going to be able to convince them. You're not going to be able to say like, well, I watched this video from Zach Rody and let me tell you what he said. That's not going to work. But what you can do is really start working on your self-worth and getting really vulnerable, sharing what's coming up for you without trying to control him in any kind of way, without trying to lead him or judge him or make him wrong. just get vulnerable. Like, he needs to feel the pain that he is causing you or any woman by not wanting to be a provider, by being stingy, by being stuck in fear-based programming. You're not there to coach him out of it. You're not there to teach him, but you are there to honor yourself and see how he shows up differently. One of the, I would say the biggest, okay, the biggest thing that, and this is just a segue back here, the biggest thing that is stopping women from being cherished by a man, and just men in general, is they're not fully speaking up all the time whenever they're not feeling good, whenever there is an unmet need, whenever they're feeling some insecurity because their man doesn't want to take care of them, whatever the reason is. Women are afraid to rock the boat, especially early on, right? Early on in dating, when you really like a guy, especially when you really like the guy. You don't want to rock the boat. You don't want him to see you as too much of a burden. In this specific instance, you don't want him to think that you're entitled. You don't want him to think that you're a gold digger. Whatever the justification is, ultimately doesn't matter. If you withhold your voice, and more importantly, you withhold your feelings in some kind of way, you're communicating that your needs, your feelings don't really matter, at least not nearly as much as they could. You're operating in low self-worth. You're going to attract low self-worth kind of men who say that they don't want to provide for a woman because of this economy, and you're gonna have a bad time. You've got to be able to have that outer reflection, like expressing yourself in a way as if you were really high self-worth, moving through the fear, anything that's in the way of being that. Okay, what else we got here? Beautiful, just to rise the vibration of the love we already are. Got nothing but love for self and others, here to support you all. Wonderful. And by the way, I'm going to say this, we're going to do intermittent, brief advertising, 30-second ad blips here, and then we're just going to get right back to scheduled programming and have a lot of fun. I'm going to start this right now. If you are a woman and you are not being fully cherished, and you have not attended one of my Inspire Him to Cherish You masterclasses, I only have 3 left that I'm doing this year, and I might not do them again because I am trying to pivot hard to YouTube, and I'm just changing my business strategy. These are amazing 2 hours of a live stream event where I'm giving you a role play, what feminine communication looks like. I'm teaching it to you. I'm leading you into your feelings, showing you how to communicate your feelings, showing you how to shift into your self-worth to ultimately inspire man into taking care of you, loving you, leading you the way that you need. You are stepping on your feet and severely interfering with your love life progress if you're just trying to figure everything out by being in the free group and maybe buying one of my books or a few of my books and not attending the masterclass. You got to attend it. PolarityMasterclass.com. That's where you're gonna sign up. PolarityMasterclass.com. Forgot to put a link in the top, but I will end up doing that. And it's $47. I mean, what do you got to lose, really? That's one bad date is probably worse than losing $47, and this is going to probably be the best $47 you've ever spent. That was over 30 seconds, so we're going to get right back to it now. So Sean says they've been burned by masculinized entitled women. Yeah, and a lot of them are like, so this is how it works, and there's the flip side for women too. So man has low self-worth, doesn't realize how amazing he is, doesn't know how to lead, doesn't know how to set boundaries, doesn't know how to set expectations, doesn't know that he's the boss. He should be the loving boss in every dynamic that he's with with a woman. He's probably some kind of people pleaser. So what kind of woman is he going to attract? Probably a masculinized, entitled boss babe who is somewhat of a gold digger, or not even a gold digger, but like will just allow a man to pay for her stuff because he does, and she's just going to let him. So she's not fully in integrity. And then he gets burned by one of those or 2 of those or 3 of those, especially if he has a divorce, a marriage that ends badly with one of those. And he is going to be straight in victim land from then on. And he's not going to realize, typically, unless he comes across me or someone else who's not a victim and is able to receive the message, he's not going to realize the problem is him. He's been co-creating that situation all by himself. He's been attracting those kind of women and that kind of behavior from those women every step of the way. And women, it's the exact same thing, right? Like, you are just co-creating your reality. And it's like, we're not blaming you here. I'm not being judgmental about it. Just that's what you're doing. And you don't know any better. And you just need to learn how to shift how you're showing up in a way that's going to attract what you actually need and deserve. which is a man who is masculine and leading you and planning and being thoughtful and considerate and has a backbone and just wants to cherish you, wants to spoil you, wants to make you feel special, and also wants to lead both of you into greater levels of commitment, not some poly thing, and fully claim you in a lifelong relationship. That's what it's all about, because he just sees your worth, he sees your value. So you can have that. You can attract that. You just got to look at yourself and be like, okay, so I'm attracting something off here. And this is not about like, there's nothing intrinsically broken about any woman. Okay? It's literally like you are amazing and beautiful, the real you. The problem is you don't know how to be fully the real you, like the most beautiful feminine version of you underneath these control patterns, the fawning and the judging and the avoiding sharing what's coming up for you and all of these other things, mothering, right? Trying to be worthy enough, being in the giving role, whatever it is. The real you is amazing. It's the not so real you that is the problem. And my job is to show you what that not real you is and what the real you is, and help you create that safety for yourself. And I help create that safety for you too, to let go of those patterns and just be able to inspire man. And that's actually an even better reward than the man himself, is you being able to just operate that way all the time. So Jason says that's a great point. The man who really wants to provide is better. That's a reflection of his character, which will outlast any temporary economic hardships or unpredictable world conditions, right? Yeah, because you could be a man, like I know women, I think I've even heard of some in my academy program, at least at first, who, were with a guy who's got lots of money and he's stingy, and it's like, well, I'm making $200,000 a year and you're making like 25,000. I think like 60-40 ratio for rent is fair, and groceries. Yeah, like just, and that was me, by the way. I mean, I wasn't rich, but if I was rich way back when, before I married my wife, that's probably kind of embarrassing, but that's definitely how I would have been showing up. Pretty pathetic. Anyway, Sarah says, thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to thoroughly answer my question. This is not my man, but I see many men making these comments to women who want a provider. Yeah, they're very lost. They're very lost. It's it's the flip side of a woman who's like, oh, I'm not going to submit to a man. Submission is for weak women. We're empowered goddesses. It's like the world's biggest turnoff for both. Like a man who is like demonstrating how stingy he is, and a woman who's demonstrating how unsubmissive she is, it's equally unattractive. Just like no healthy person is going to want to have anything to do with them. And they're going to keep attracting the wrong people. Like my audience typically isn't going to be those people, especially in this group, because you guys have resonated typically with my message to a certain degree and possibly dove into my actual content, my books or dating course or masterclass or whatever. And so, or at least just been in the group and been exposed to this, your feminine instinct is online enough to know that that there's something really off there. You know what you need. Where did my picture go? That's weird. Let's go back to that. Just wanted to see how many people are watching me right now. We got 14. So who's hiding? I think like 8 people, something like that, have commented. So we got like at least 6 hiders right now. Don't be shy. Everybody's nice and friendly here. We want to know who you are. We want to know what your problems are. We want to know what your questions are. I want to know what your questions are so that I can address them, actually answer them. And Jennifer, excellent. Great to see you. Yeah, Jennifer, we've been talking about a lot of things, but the main thing is the overall, where are women going wrong to not be cherished fully? What did I dive into? So there's the voice thing. I'm going to just try to cover a few of them. And again, if there's any specific questions, I'm just going to go way off on that and hone in on it. So like, this is your chance, literally your chance for free coaching and free advice. Don't miss that opportunity. I don't do this every day, but I'm in a good mood. And I want to connect with some people in this group. So yeah, so another big one, and I touched on this one's so important, ladies. It's so important and such a big blind spot for so many women, is women who think that they are, I'm going to answer that to Jennifer in a moment, Jennifer, so don't disappear on me. Women who are thinking that they're submissive, right? It's like, I'm feminine, I know how to follow a man, I don't resist him, I don't go and like start judging and blaming and all this stuff that these women that have more like classically masculinized woundings do. Why can't I attract a man? Or why, when I do attract a man, why is he just interested in sleeping with me and not committing to me and, not fully leading things forward, and he's not making plans all the time, and he's not really being clear, and he's leaving me guessing, like, this sucks. Well, not speaking up is part of this answer. There's going to be a few things. It's not speaking up and sharing everything using feminine communication. And this goes deeper, which I'm going to explain in a second. The other really big part of this, one of the other big parts of this, is that so you're not in your self-worth. So men are always going to be able to sense your level of self-worth. Just like with a man, especially as you get to know him, like you just feel like, oh, I'm not really attracted to this guy. Like he's not doing it for me. I'm all dried up, and like I see him as a good friend, like a brother, and nothing more. Well, that's typically because he's lacking in masculine self-worth. He's not fully stepping up and leading. He's not energetically penetrating you. You're just not really feeling what you need to feel that masculine power, and not setting boundaries. You just feel that kind of a little bit of a weakness in some kind of way. And so it's the same thing with women, with men feeling you as a woman, where they can feel your lack of self-worth. You might be following him for following men in general, but you're unconsciously typically dishonoring your heart. You're like doing it to please or to avoid abandonment. You're doing it to avoid rocking the boat. You're doing it to avoid a bad reaction in some kind of way. And even before you start doing that, before that actual behavior, he's going to be able to start picking up on the self-worth, the level of self-worth of a woman who is a fawner, who fawns, or who avoids sharing feelings, avoids communicating her needs, who wears masks, who isn't fully genuine, who's trying to manage perceptions. He's going to feel that, and he's going to lose attraction. Now, with men, it's a little bit different than women, right? With women, if a man's not really in his self-worth, she's probably not going to be attracted to him at all to want to sleep with him. With a man, he's still like, if you're okay looking, he's probably still going to want to sleep with you and use you. Now, I'm not saying this is a good thing. I'm not defending it. I'm just saying there's a good chance that's going to happen if you give him the opportunity, if you allow it, if you fawn and, it didn't fully feel right for you, but you did it. He'll be attracted enough to sleep with you, just not attracted enough to make you his girlfriend and or eventual wife or, life partner in some kind of way. The cherished woman that you need and deserve to be. So women are constantly confusing submission and fawning, and even not even being aware of it because it's so deeply ingrained. It's like you experience this from childhood where you were raised to basically be obedient. There's nothing wrong with being obedient, but obedient in an unhealthy way where you're having to dishonor yourself. You're not communicating your needs, your feelings, whatever, to avoid abandonment, to avoid judgment, to avoid punishment, to avoid whatever. And then that carries on in your love life, and you don't attract healthy masculine men. That's the end of story. And by the way, quick intermission. We'll help you with that on our Inspire Him to Cherish You Masterclass. It's coming up in 6 days, 5 days. It's really 5 days. We're only doing 3 left this year, and this is the only one that's happening in the evening of the 3. So if you haven't attended one yet, this is your chance to sign up at polaritymasterclass.com, where I spend 2 hours taking care of you, leading you on an adventure, sort of like this one. And we're going to get more specific with the feminine communication. We're going to role play it for you. I'm going to lead you into your feelings, into your heart. It's going to be an amazing time, and you're going to come out of that experience so much more clear on exactly what you need to do to inspire a man into taking care of you. Now, even coming out of this video, you're going to be somewhat more clear, but let me tell you, that 2-hour experience is like nothing else. You're going to be day and night difference as far as understanding what you need to do. So that's polaritymasterclass.com. Don't make excuses for that. Don't miss out. I really want every woman who's serious about polarity and serious about being cherished. I want every single one to be able to have this experience on this masterclass before I stop doing them this year. So it's July. It's we got one in June, and then we got 2 in July. It's probably going to be 2 in July, and then that's it. Okay, so where are we here? Chris says, me too. Now I don't know the reference because that was 5 minutes ago. I got to catch up here. Jennifer says, what are your thoughts on sugar dating? Well, sugar dating it's interesting because there is some level of polarity there, but you're basically kind of using each other as well, so it's not true polarity. And typically, not typically, there is going to be some level of self-worth issue as well if you are transacting basically sex for money and gifts and all that stuff. I'm assuming that's what you mean by sugar dating. But the good thing is that at least there's some semblance of polarity, which is often not existing at all on dates. I don't recommend it. I think every woman can do way better. Every woman needs a man who is in his self-worth, in his power, who knows exactly what he's worth and is taking care of a woman fully because he wants to, not as some kind of trade. And you're super attracted to him. And he's not 30 years older than you, unless you want him to be. Not that all sugar dating is that kind of age difference, but certainly some of it is. Kat says, I'm here too. Excellent, Kat. Lovely to see you. And we got Tiffany, still learning to speak up. It's all about the speaking up. It is, and it's hard, right? Like if you got those deeply ingrained patterns of avoiding and downplaying and rationalizing why you shouldn't speak up or why you should do it later or anything else that's going on in that brain of yours in your body, those fear responses, it's hard to overcome that. It absolutely is. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of perseverance. It takes a lot of self-understanding. And it also takes a good understanding of how to inspire a man into helping you move through those fears. Because ladies, you don't have to do it all by yourself. And in fact, if you are trying to do it all by yourself, you're actually dishonoring yourself in a way. You're not fully in your self-worth because one of the things you need help with a man, whether it's a first date or whether it's a relationship, is you need a man who is leading you proactively to open up, to ask about your feelings, to find out how you're doing, to find out about your experience, to help you through those trauma patterns so that you don't, like, it's so much easier if a man's just like, hey, sweetheart, tell me what you're feeling right now. How are you feeling? Like, I sense something's off. Tell me, are you doing all right? And he, you might give some, BS answer, fear, like where you're trying to avoid again. And he just leads you through that as well. He leads you right into opening up and being vulnerable. Like, that's a lot easier than him not leading at all in that direction. And you're just like, oh my God, I'm supposed to do it. I don't know if I should. What if he rejects me? What if he doesn't like me? What if, this isn't right? What if I get the feminine communication wrong? Oh no, that's really hard. So you need to learn how to inspire man into coaching you to start shifting through these patterns. And again, we'll be helping with you with that on our masterclass, PolarityMasterclass.com. Sign up. So Tiffany says, I'm still learning to speak up. It's been a challenge. Yeah, absolutely. It's a journey. It is quite the journey. Jennifer says, yeah, I do have issues with being submissive. It's tough. I try to be in feminine energy. Yeah, recovering people pleaser. Yeah, right. Like if you're a people pleaser, like here's the thing with being a people pleaser. It's like you start learning feminine communication and feminine, like, I'm supposed to be following a man. People pleasing is essentially a control pattern. It's a control pattern to stay safe and to be liked. And so it's a costume. It's a good girl costume. So you're wearing a mask, you're wearing a costume, and then you learn about feminine communication and feminine energy and stuff. And then you just create, I'm not saying you're doing this exactly, Jennifer, I don't know, but pretty much every woman's going to do this to an extent if they're a people pleaser. You'll learn the feminine communication, and then you start using it to people please. Because it's like, well, this Zach Rody guy, he says that masculine men are really attracted to and inspired by a woman who's using feminine communication. So I'm going to use this feminine communication to inspire man. And even if you're not doing this consciously, you're unconsciously still in that control, and it's just a better costume. It's like you're now doing it to get those good outcomes or to avoid the bad outcomes, which isn't feminine, and it's not in your self-worth. Nothing of substance has changed. It's just the costume has changed. It's a nicer costume, but you're still actually in your masculine energy and probably not attracting healthy masculine men with that costume. Or if you do attract masculine men, they're not going to stick around once they can feel that there's something off in your energy. I'm attracting a ton of dominant men in dom sub relationships. Well, that's good depending on what you mean by that, because it is interesting. Like if you're talking about like kink culture stuff, then there's actually, I don't want to go too much into it, but there's typically stuff that's off for most of them, I will say. One of them being that many aren't looking for a serious commitment. I'm not saying all of them, but a lot of them. They want to do poly stuff and do their dom sub kink stuff with a whole bunch of women instead of learning how to cherish a woman, just truly devote to her. How to develop and cultivate masculine self-worth. I end up with a lot of platonic connections, classic issues. Well, okay, so I am going to answer this question because it's a video for women. I'm going to be relatively brief. What you have to do, Liam, is you have to choose to start leading. Like, you are the leader in every dynamic that you are with, especially with women. So take dating, for example. Dating is a great place to cultivate self-worth. And by the way, there's other stuff you can do, working on your purpose and all kinds of things. But specific with women, you need to start leading. You need to start setting boundaries. You need to know what your expectations are of a woman. So far, like, you need to go so far with this that even on a first date, you need to start teaching a woman feminine communication. Because if she's speaking to you in judgments and, kind of leading questions and all, I mean, women are typically on their best behavior for a first date, but they're still going to be doing some of that. You need to step up and start coaching them how to be more feminine, how to let go of control. And that's not controlling them. You're actually giving them one of the most amazing gifts in the world, which is your leadership and teaching them their voice, which they don't know how to express because it's covered up in judgments. They don't know how to be fully vulnerable. So the more that you set those expectations, lead a woman to meet your expectations, and you're doing it lovingly. You're not doing it to get her approval or to get her to like you or anything like that. You're doing it fully for you. The more that your self-worth is going to come online. And that, by the way, that's what we do, and for women as well. I haven't even touched on this in this video, but for men in our academy program, this is a big part of what we help you do. We show you how to lead a woman, teach her feminine communication, how to use masculine communication, how to be that strong, powerful leader, coach, teacher that women are super attracted to and feel unbelievably safe with. And you're in your self-worth. And for women, I've touched on the masterclass, but also for women, ladies, if you're interested just from this video, it's like, this is really resonating and you want to go deeper, or you're interested at least in going deeper, we also do have our academy program. What we do there is we teach women how to make all these shifts. We fully hold you, take your hand, lead you through all of it, lead you to open up, to let go, to find your feminine voice, to practice with us over and over again. There's no program like it. It's relationshipyourdreams.com for both men and women. The men have to click a separate link at the top, but for women, it's right there. Just watch that video on relationshipyourdreams.com. Just hear from our clients the kind of shifts that they've been having and how much better their life is. You can have that too. I want that for every single woman. So you can, I don't care who you are, unless you're crazy, unless you're like, which you're probably not, but if you're no longer kind of in this reality and can't really understand things or make shifts in your life, then of course we can't help you, but that's not really anyone here. I don't think, I hope. Nikki says, may I have help? I'm in a relationship and I feel that my man cherishes me, but I don't feel his dominance, and I do feel this weakness in him. I have really been trying not to fawn, and I've been trying to share my feelings vulnerably, but I'm not inspiring a high level of dominance, and I don't understand what the problem is. Well, there's a few possibilities, right? So one is, no matter what, he's not fully in his self-worth, but part of this could be his own fear-based woundings, where, like, it depends exactly what you mean by not cherishing you. Like, is like, not being really proactive and leading, setting up dates, all that kind of stuff. That could be fear-based stuff. And it could also be that he's just not fully inspired by you. And of course, that's partly his issue, right? That's a co-creation. Like, regardless if a man is inspired by a woman, if he's choosing to be with her, he should be choosing to step up and meet her needs and all this stuff. So not fawning is very important. Continuing to share your feelings vulnerably. And I'd have to kind of go a little bit deeper here, Nikki, but tell me what he does when you share your feelings. Does anything shift? Are you being fully honest with exactly what you're experiencing? This weakness that you're mentioning, like, do you mean weakness in like kind of a simpy people pleaser kind of way? Because if so, you got to share that using feminine communication, of course. Share how it's emotionally affecting you. Ask for help with it if you haven't done that already, and continue doing it. And it's going to take time. Like, a man who's a people pleaser, that's going to take a lot of time to shift that. But as long as you're seeing some progress, then and going in the right direction, that's what's important. Laura says my biggest challenge is that when I express negative feelings, he says I'm not going to be motivated by your negative feelings. Yeah, so there's a few possibilities there, Laura. So one is, and this is true for anyone, you just got the wrong guy, where he's too wounded to take care of a woman in any kind of way. I'm going to shelve that in the less likely category, just based on my own experiences, based on what I've seen in my academy program with women making these shifts. Most likely, it's that there's something going on when you are sharing your feelings. Now, I don't know, and I'm going to ask you, like, tell me what what you've learned from in regards to my work. Like, have you read all my books? Have you done my dating course? Have you done my Masterclass? If you've done a reasonable amount of those, then your communication is in the words, the phrasing is probably decent. Not necessarily, like it depends on how much you like. People can misinterpret things as well and apply things wrong, but it's probably okay, and it's going to be more likely to be your energy. And this is the hardest thing for women. Most women don't know what true vulnerability is, and I can speak on it in so many different ways, and it's like it's the difficulty that men have of like knowing what it's like to be really powerful and energetically penetrative. It's just like if it's foreign to them because they've been floppy and never really doing it, they don't really know how to do it. And it's scary to actually let go because it's like that unconscious heart muscle, right? Like it's closed in some kind of way. You don't know how to fully open it up. So you're either guarded in some way, you're speaking more from your head, or when you share your feelings, you're actually kind of stuck in some kind of victim story, some kind of self-pity story, even subtly. Like it can be so subtle and unconscious that like objectively nobody would be able to know the difference. But the man that you're speaking to, his instinct will feel it, and it'll be like even if the actions look identical and the energy, or sorry, not energy, the pitch and the words and everything look identical, it could just be off in the most subtle way, and a man's just not really going to be inspired. He's not going to care in any kind of way. If his instinct was fully online, he would still be like helping you with your communication and shifting and everything further, just that his isn't. He probably matched you in some kind of way. And so it's almost certainly going to be that vulnerability issue, and it's about accessing that frequency. That's going to be the biggest thing, and not letting it go. Like, and I would even ask him, like, may I know how you want me to communicate with you if there's a problem or if I'm not feeling happy? This is a good question. You're not doing it for this reason because it would be manipulative, but it's a good question for men to have to reflect and realize that their leadership is kind of crappy most of the time. A lot of men are leading women out of having a voice entirely. A lot of men are leading women out of their feminine energy in some kind of way or feminine communication in some kind of way. And some men just don't know how a woman should be communicating. So it starts getting him to think, and he needs to do that if he's going to be a leader, because what he should be doing, if he's just saying, I'm not motivated by your negative feelings, well, okay, that's not leadership though. That's just being kind of negative, negative about your negative feelings, as opposed to giving you healthy leadership where it's like, hey, I understand you're feeling upset. Here's how I'd like you to communicate this instead. Just say it this way. And he leads you into that so that you actually have something to submit to. You have something to follow. Now, hopefully the phrasing would actually be good and he's not leading you away from your self-worth, but that's what a man should be doing is he's leading you with like, do this instead of, ugh, I just don't like this. Because then you're just going to feel like crap about yourself and that's no good. Stefan, I think. Zach, I got a situation. My woman feels annoyance to use feminine communication. She does like to be taken care of and will submit by using feminine communication, but she doesn't feel good using it. It's not becoming embodied. Tell me how I can navigate this. She just has a lot of uncertainty around feminine communications. It means that her instinct is somewhat her instinct is somewhat offline. There's wounding on top of it so that she's not fully in touch. She's in touch with some of her feminine instinct, like, all the good stuff being taken care of. But the feminine instinct of letting go of control, of communicating without energetic penetration, without judgments and whatever else she's doing, that's suppressed in some way. She's probably dissociated. I can't guarantee this, but probably dissociated to some degree. She's not fully in touch with that part of herself. So probably based on the limited amount of information I have, the thing to do is you've got to start cultivating a feeling practice with her, leading her deeper into her feelings with you and alone, and helping her get in touch with that instinct. Like, it's feminine communication, like, you're not just getting this from my books and everything. It's instinctual. Like, it's instinctual for you, where it's like, oh yeah, this feels good. Like, I can tell you this line to say, and it's like, oh yeah, that's how I want to speak to my woman, and like, oh, this is how I want her to speak to me. But some women still have that disconnect, which is why, like, the vast majority of women in this group, their instinct is relatively online, which is amazing. So it's like it's like much more fun to interact with them because they're not dissociated from their instinct. When a woman's dissociated from her instinct, it's a challenge. Like, it sucks for both man and for the woman. And it's like, that's out in the Wild West on Facebook, where so many women are they'll listen to my messages and they'll be like, wow, this guy's insane. And it's because their instinct's not online. So if your woman's instinct's not online, you've got to get her in touch with that instinct and help her match the communication that you're giving her to the energy of letting go. That's what I had to do for my wife as well, because my wife started by experiencing tons of dissociation, and it was a journey. It was a journey. Still is a journey. We're still on it. Getting better every day. Jennifer says, yeah, so important to know how to communicate well with men. Absolutely. No sex consensual at some point. No sex consensual? Not sure what that means. Tiffany says, thank you, Zach. Brenna says, I'm 41 years old and just found out my man wants to know my feelings. Well, it's a great day for you when you find that out. Yeah, and any reasonably healthy man would. One of the biggest issues women have, biggest blind spots is, or I don't know if it's a blind spot, but it's a limiting belief, is that they don't realize how beautiful their feelings are to a man, to a remotely healthy man. And so you tend to hide the stuff that isn't beautiful. If you think that your feelings are ugly and this yucky burden, then you're not going to want to share, because it's like, well, he might abandon me if I show this ugly part of myself. But when you start to realize that's all nonsense in your head, I mean, unless you have a terrible man that you should probably get rid of. Once you start to realize that it's nonsense in your head, well, guess what happens? You can start to share all your feelings vulnerably and create this beautiful connection with the man, where you're just sharing all your feelings using feminine communication, ideally, to share those feelings. And he loves it. And he just wants to take care of you even more. He wants to understand you. He wants to go deeper with you. He wants to be closer with you. Just take care of you the way that a man is supposed to with a woman. Oh, am I still 12 minutes behind? Wow, I'm gonna try to catch up here. So, kink culture where I am the submissive. Yeah, I was assuming that you were the submissive for sure. And the man, I mean, if the man wanted to be the submissive, that's like obvious wounding. Like, that's the most, you don't get more wounded than that. But what I was saying is, typically men in that culture are often wounded, even if they want to be the dom. And I'm not saying all of them. I'm just saying a lot of them are. What advice would you have to single mothers who have to consistently play a masculine role for their families or get stuck in their masculine energy? How do they flip this energy when attracting a truly masculine man? So here's the thing, Sarah. The issue is, okay, part of the issue, of course, is that you're in masculine energy a lot of the day. That's going to make it harder for you, right? And you said, yes, it's single mothers. So I would say at least a third of our academy is single mothers. Like, it's hard. Like, it's a really difficult life, and it's harder to attract healthy masculine men. And part of it is because you're in your masculine energy so much of the day. So what you have to do is realize that, like, you can't just be feminine and give up everything, and then you're living in a gutter with your children and you don't have anything to eat. You still have to operate in that masculine energy. Now, doing so more consciously, just being aware that you're using the masculine energy as a tool, is important. But the biggest problem for women in your situation isn't that you're stuck in masculine energy so much of the day, or that you're using masculine energy so much of the day. The bigger problem is you don't know how to just easily access your feminine energy. It's like, just trying to think of an example, like a skill set, like being ambidextrous, is that the word, with writing? Like, you can write with your right hand or your left. It's like, you know how to write with your right hand, and you do it all day, but you have no idea what you're doing with your left hand. Your left hand's an idiot. Like, mine's an idiot, can't do anything. And you just need to basically train yourself. That's kind of a masculine term, but you put it in a feminine context, train yourself in feminine energy. Train yourself by letting go as much as possible when you can, which will be certainly when you're interacting with a man, right? When you have a date with a man. So it's like, I'll give you an example. It's a really simple example. You're out on a date with a man. You're in your masculine energy. You're controlling. You're trying to control his perceptions. You're kind of uptight. I don't know exactly your situation, what you do, but we'll just play with this. You're, kind of leading or whatever it is that you're doing, and you notice, oh, I'm in my masculine energy. This really doesn't feel good. You can share, like, you can ask for help, or you can just ask to share. May I share something, or may I share a problem? Yeah, what's up? Oh, I just noticed that I'm like you could say masculine energy, it just depends on how familiar men are with it. It's like, I noticed that, like, I'm kind of controlling right now, and I'm having trouble just letting go and just being at ease. I don't want to feel this way. And you could, you're probably feeling some kind of anxiety too, right? That's what's typically going to be putting you in those control patterns. So you can share, like, oh, I'm feeling some anxiety. And you open yourself to be led into that anxiety, figure out why, he's going to figure out why you're feeling that anxiety. And in that moment, you're starting to let go because you're opening yourself up. You're being real. You're allowing yourself to be led. And before you know it, there's some real polarity there because he's leading and you're opening up and you're following. And, there's a lot more to it than that. Like, there's so much that we teach our academy students. One big one is really cultivating a feeling practice. If you don't have one, like, spend as much time being in your body instead of up here in your head, which not much goes on that's very good in your head. It's just control, it's just judgments instead of flowing, instead of letting go. The more that you can be present with your feelings in your body, the easier it's going to be to let go of your control patterns externally. And so letting go of that masculine energy. And so instead of your masculine energy being like a prison, which it is for most women, where it's like, you can't get out, I don't know how to get out, and your lifestyle is making that even worse. Now, you can switch. It's like, oh, I can be in my masculine or I can be in my feminine, and now the masculine energy is a tool rather than a prison. Because there's nothing wrong with you being in masculine energy. There's nothing wrong with a woman utilizing masculine energy. It's only a problem when you don't know how to get out of it, because then you're just going to be repelling the very men that are going to be able to, use it not as a rescuer sense, but like essentially rescue you from a life of having to be in your masculine, right? So you can just let go and be in your feminine. Jennifer says, describe how it makes you feel as feminine energy. Yes, yeah. When you're focusing on you, you're being vulnerable, you're sharing your experiences. You could do all of this to teach as well, or to be in a more masculine energy, but typically when you're sharing all this stuff, sharing your feelings, you're opening up more. It's much easier like the words themselves, the phrasing helps you energetically open up and let go. So like, another good example, who was it that asked it? Sarah. So like, for example, if you haven't done my Polarity Masterclass, Inspire Him to Cherish You Masterclass, we give you so much of the language and then role play it for you to show you how to use it in certain situations and how it flows, right? Like not just a specific example, but like an actual conversation, so that when you are in a control pattern, you're able to let go. You're able to use the feminine communication to let go. So again, that's PolarityMasterclass.com. Join us. I want everyone listening here to join us if you haven't been on one yet. Describe how, thanks Zach, single almost 3 years. Well, we got to make that the last year, or certainly 2026, the last year of being single. There's going to be reasons, Jennifer, that you're single. Part of it is just your level of commitment to not being single and moving through any resistance that might be in the way. But then there's going to be so much other stuff, right? Like women sabotage themselves constantly on dating apps. Like the number of bad profiles I see, like it's awful. Like I can't, like men as well. Everybody's terrible. Nobody has any idea what they're doing. But then out in the world as well, right? Like just walking around guarded, being more closed off, not having your shields 100% fully down, not knowing how to fully attract the right kind of men from the beginning. Because here's the thing, if you're attracting the wrong kind of men from the beginning, it's going to be, you're going to have a lot of years being single because you're not going to want those men. None of the men you're attracting are really healthy and masculine and also want you. And so it's just not going to turn into a relationship. So the first step is learning how, if you're single, to attract the really healthy masculine men. That's all about shifting that energy. It's all about shifting that self-worth. And it's all about some practical stuff, like especially if you're online, like getting your dating profile right and everything. You can have that. Chris says, I think this carries over to single women who aren't moms, as we are also have to take care of it. Yeah, like single moms, it's going to be the worst, right? Because not only do you have to take care of yourself, you also have to take care of your children. And like, it's really hard. But a single woman, who's not, what happened? Am I still here? It says live still. Tell me if everyone can still see me. I think. I'm going to keep talking, and hopefully somebody says that I'm still here and I'm not talking to myself, because that would be unfortunate. Where was I? So I think this carries over to single women who aren't. Actually, I can check to make sure it's still saying live here. Still says live. All right. So I'm going to assume people are still hearing me. Yeah. So single women still have to, like, if, ideally a single woman is supposed to be covered by her father. Right? Historically, that would be how it would be. So you've always got a man who is taking care of you, and you're just passed on to, passed on to a husband who takes care of you, right? Who takes over that role of taking care of you. It's quite an abomination. Our modern Western society today is never supposed to be anything like this. There's some good things that have come from it as well, but there's a lot of bad things that have happened that have, I mean, they hurt both men and women, and just broken down this culture of women being taken care of, which masculinizes women, which then emasculates men and makes men check out, and then women start to hate men because they don't want to date emasculated men who can't take care of them. And then it just, society spirals out of control. And the way it all gets shifted is by every individual taking responsibility for themselves and what they are co-creating, and learning to change their life, their world, and little by little this can all turn around. All right, everyone's saying I'm good. Excellent. It all came at once. All that reassurance. Sarah says mind blown. Excellent. That's great to hear. Okay, so it's almost 10 o'clock here. It's almost my bedtime. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to wrap things up. Thank you all for attending. This was fantastic. I had a lot of fun. I really hope you had a lot of fun as well. Tell me if you had some fun. Tell me in the comments. And one last time, if you are a lady, if you're a woman, doesn't matter if you're single or in a relationship, if you are not fully being cherished right now, if you don't have a man who's treating you the way that you need, you're not being adored, you're not being considered, you're not being led and loved the way that you need, provided for financially and otherwise, then make sure you sign up for our masterclass, where, I mean, it's not a magic bullet in the sense that like, hey, you do this and like your love life's going to be great. I'm not going to lie to you and say it would be. Not for $47, it doesn't happen. And not when, more importantly, without doing the work. But what it does is it sets you so much in the right direction. It gives you so much clarity about where you are, why you don't have exactly what you want, what you need to do to shift it, and much more of a roadmap of like, okay, this is what I need to be doing. This is how I need to be shifting my communication. This is what I need to be doing with my feelings. This is more about how I need to be showing up, so that we're shaving like years, or in some cases decades, off your learning curve, right? Like I don't want anyone to suffer longer than they should. And the masterclass is going to make it way easier for you to start getting a lot more of what you want. And for some women who don't have like huge issues, just the masterclass, like I have so many testimonials that I haven't even posted. I keep forgetting. I just have my old ones up from a few years ago, where it's like, this completely changed my life. Like my husband and I are so happy now, or like I met my man, or my boyfriend and I worked things out and everything's good. I'm not going to say it's going to be that transformational for you. For some it is, and for others it's like it's a really incredible shift that's going to make this journey way easier. No matter what, it's going to be probably the best $47 you've ever spent your entire life, and the best 2 hours of your life as far as being educational and helping you shift what you need to shift. And I would really love to see you there. We have a lot of fun. Just like I'm doing the same thing on the master classes here, except it's much more, there's a lot of hands-on stuff and going into the details about the application, specific application. So I hope to see you there. That's polaritymasterclass.com, Polarity Masterclass, it's one word.com. And then sign up. It's June 16th. And then there's only 2 more after that this year, and then I'm done. I'm gonna going off Facebook for the most part, or much less, be on Facebook much less so. And then also, I may as well throw this invitation as well. If this has really resonated for you and you're like, man, this guy's pretty awesome, and I maybe want to work with him and actually get these hands-on shifts and transformations with an entire team of men who can lead you through this and hold you and help you, then go to relationshipyourdreams.com and watch the video that's there, listening to my clients, and book a call with me where we'll talk about what's going on in your love life and what you need to do to shift. I'll give you some coaching. It's a discovery call. It's totally free. And from there, if I believe we can help you in our academy, we can talk all about it. And you can ask me any questions about it and then decide if you'd like to make this journey much faster and much, much easier by working with us. That's it for this video, this live stream. Thank you all for attending. You were all wonderful. Thank you for being engaging and making this a lot more fun for me as well. Have a fantastic evening or morning, wherever you are. Bye now.